Chaitanya-mano-vishtam savidamyana bhutale swayam rupagatam sarati swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sarnaravam Tam Sajivam Sadhaitam Savadipam Arjuna Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahaganavaita Shri Vishakam Sya Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Sridhanta Swami Namaste Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Devi Sesha Sunyavadi Pastasaraswati Panchakalpatarabhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatkate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Saptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Siddhante Devi Pranamami Krishna Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I welcome you all once again to our systematic study of Vedic scriptures. In that we are reading Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13. Bhagavad Gita is our living guide, which means for any state of mind, for any state of art, we can always take shelter of Bhagavad Gita. What does it mean by taking shelter of Bhagavad Gita is to really understand that we all want protection in different times. Always we have some kind of fear, some kind of anxiety, some kind of worries that worry us. So many things that are there, small, big, they come in different sizes, different times, different circumstances. And we want protection. And how much strength we have to face it. If we really see, we have unlimited strength, but do we know it? No, we don't know. The strength that we have is so unlimited when we understand that we are not this body. And how to come to that understanding is basically that what we can see from the pages of Bhagavad Gita. Because Krishna started enlightening Arjuna exactly with this opening verse, Dehi Novasmin Yata Dehe Komaram Yavaram Chara. Just like the body is changing from childhood, youth, old age. Similar, the soul is also traveling, or changing one body to the other body, which means we are identifying ourselves with something that is temporary. We are identifying ourselves with that is perishable. We are identifying the problems of the body as our own problems. So similarly, Arjuna was thinking, he was saying, why should I fight? If I fight, I will incur sin. If I fight, then I'm going to kill my own relatives. If I fight, then in the end, what is there to rule when all of my people are dead? In that way, he was all identifying himself with a sense of bodily conception or material understanding, and he was not fighting. Soul's responsibility is also to follow the path of Dharma. For that, we use this body. The other way, what happens is we use the body for satisfying our senses, which leads to us on traveling on adharmic path, and that causes us bondage. So let's continue to travel through this systematic study of this great scripture, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and we are in the chapter 13. And I think is it 5 or 4? Adirasa Prabhu, please tell me.
4 Prabhuji.
I think we finished 4.
Let me
Not wrong.
check.
No, you're right. I think it's 4.
Yes,
So I saw new name Parth. So Parth Prabhu, what we do is on a Sunday morning where yeah, there are no busy uh, uh, time that we have to get ready to go there, here, run around. We spend some peaceful time to read through this Bhagavad Gita. And as part of that, what we do is one of the participants, they voluntarily opt to read one verse that you are seeing on the screen. And then we'll just discuss what Prabhupada emphasizes and also open up discussions. How do we understand it today, now, for me, and apply? Then after that, we go to the next verse, and in that way, since last 3 years, I think we have been doing, where we have come to the chapter 13 now, 13. So yeah, in case if you can see the screen very well and can also read, yeah, good try.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Yeah, you can read. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can see the screen, Siddharth Prabhu.
Would you like to read?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Moment, please. Tatshetrang jatcha jadrik cha jaddikari jatascha jat. Tatshetrang jatcha jadrik cha jaddikari jatascha jat. Sa cha jo jat prabhavascha tatsamashena me shrinu. The translation would be like, now please hear my brief description of this field of activity and how it is constituted, what is the changes are, whence it is produced, who that knower of the field of activities is, and what his influences are. Uh, so the purport will be, the Lord is describing the field of activities and the knower of the field of activities in their constitutional position. One has to know how his body is constituted, the materials of which his body is made, under whose control his body is working, how the changes are taking place, where from the changes are coming, what the causes are, what the reasons are, what the ultimate goal of the individual soul is, and what the actual form of individual soul is. One should also know the distinction between the individual living soul and the super soul, their different influences, their potential, etc. One just has to understand one just has to understand this Bhagavad Gita directly from the description given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and all this will be clarified. But one should be careful not to consider the Supreme Personality of Godhead in in everybody to be one with the individual soul. The jiva is something like equating the potent and the impotent.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you. Yeah, very nice. So this is actually the opening verse of what the whole chapter will be discussed. So Krishna is saying, Tat Kshetram Yachadrik cha Yad Vikari Yathascha Yat Tachayo Yat Prabhavas cha Tad Samasena Me Shruno. So Samasena, summary, and Shruno. They are so important. And in the translation, we see now please hear. How many of us are really hearing? May you raise your hands. Five, 6, 7. So out of 12, 6 have raised their hands. So what about others? Are they searching the button or the reason? I mean, of course, on using this occasion, I have asked it, but yeah. So we all want to hear. That's the reason we have joined here. Yeah. So there is no question about it. But how attentively are we hearing? There is a huge impact that we can see in our life. Just even a moment of hearing very attentively can lead us to a life transforming moment of our life. So it's very important. And here Krishna is saying, please hear. And what is that? The beauty here is he's summarizing the whole, whatever the questions that Arjuna has asked. Thanks for raising hands. Now you can drop them on. So let's also take it very seriously because, yeah, otherwise Krishna could just continue to keep on speaking. He need not have to say, hi, now please listen. My better. So is my internet good?
Little bit breaking.
There is some breakage of voice in between.
Let me know if I have to reconnect to some other network. Is it better now?
Yes, I can hear it better. So.
Let me change it. My network. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can hear you.
Okay. So in this verse 13.4, Krishna is saying, please hear my brief description of this field of activity and how it's constituted, what its changes are, whence it is produced, who that knower of the field of activities is, and what his influences are. So all this will be summarized in the letter from the verse number 5 till 18. All the verses will be what is explaining about these. So this might look a little technical, but this also helps us because then we have a better clarity. And here we see that the emphasis is given. Most of us are uh, leading a very busy lifestyle where we don't have so much time. Otherwise, the best would be that we simply go on reading for hours, finish Bhagavad Gita in 1 day, 2 days, or max a week, and then take up next book. go through that. So, but because we do not have yet such a taste and also arrangements that we have, and we always are looking for a essence of Bhagavad Gita, essence of or the summary of Bhagavad Gita, or essence, who am I? What is this all functioning? How is it all working? So this is what Krishna is saying in this chapter, that I am going to summarize that who you are. One has to know how this body is constituted. If something is done, is it the body that is doing, or is it the mind that is doing, or is it the soul that is doing? The materials of which this body is made of, under whose control this body is working, how the changes are taking place, because there are six kinds of changes that happen. One is that creation and or appearance and disappearance or death, uh, cease to perish. That is appearance and perishing. Then there is also a growth, then being like that, and then creating offset of offsprings, or effects, creating effects, then dwindle, and then finally perish. So these are actually six changes, transformations that happen to the body. But the soul is not going through all these transformations, it is only to the body. So here we see one has to know how this body is constituted and the materials of which this body is made of, and under whose control this body is working, how the changes are taking place. This is the changes, where from the changes are coming, what are the causes, what are the reasons, so many questions. One should also know the distinction between the individual living soul and the super soul. As we already discussed, that the super soul is also present in this body. Paramatma and Jivatma are present in the same body. Paramatma is witnessing what are we doing. Just like these birds on the tree, as per Manduka Upanishad and Svetaswara Upanishad, it is said that just like two birds are on the branch of a tree. One bird is eating the fruits of the tree, and the other bird is actually just witnessing. It has nothing to do with anything that this bird is eating and the influence of that eating. It is just witnessing. So the Lord is also present in our heart, and He is witnessing what are we doing, and accordingly He is avoiding, rewarding, and punishing. All these things happen. So there is a very strong mechanism. Like last week only, right? We were discussing about the example of a GPS that is present in a car. How this GPS is seeing the location or reporting the location to the office which is maintaining. Similarly, the Lord, He is also expands Himself and present in everyone's heart, and is keeping track of what all we are doing. When the time of death comes, when the time of test comes, then all these facts are put straight and then assessed what we did. So one should also know the distinction of the individual soul and super soul. Though these souls are present inside the same body, we should be very careful. We should not be. We should be careful not to consider the supreme person of Godhead in every body to be one with the individual soul. So though, we may see that the birds look same, or the bird looks are in the same. The birds are not of same potency. Qualitatively, they are completely different. What are the differences? I think last week we were also discussing that the super soul can conceive what is happening in every body, everyone's, but individual soul has a consciousness only of his own body. He cannot understand the suffering of other person. That is the reason, right? We ask, hey, how are you doing? Krishna doesn't have to ask, how are you doing? Yeah, he knows better than us how we are doing. Parth Prabhu, as you were reading, we see this.
Yeah.
The difference between us and the Supreme is this exact thing. If someone is asking us, how are you? We may be wrong with our assessment, but Lord will not be wrong. If we open up ourselves to Him, hey, how am I doing? The Lord will clearly say, what are we doing? What should we not do? How should we take control of ourselves? All these things. That is the reason. That is the purpose. That is the facility that Lord has given, that He is present in our heart. Now, How close can it be more than this?
Yes, Prabhu.
Even our hand, the tip of the finger is far than the Lord.
Yes, Prabhu.
He is just next to us. What is that? Super soul is next to our living entity, Jivatma. Paramatma is next to Jivatma. But why is there so much uh, gap? When they are so close, why are they not seen? Who was there yesterday in the Simachalam class? Bhagavatam class?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. It is Chaitanya Charitamrita class, right?
Yeah. I mean to say morning class.
Okay. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, you were there. There was something that came about the closeness. How do we define this closeness?
So Gauranga Prabhu was explaining about attachment and love, the differences between the attachment and love. But I'm trying to answer your question, Prabhuji.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it might be that I'm bringing also that evening class of Bhagavad Gita. So one of this, he was saying about how are we really close? Close means we can hear ourselves, right? So we should hear. When Dinath Prabhu is close to me, if he speaks, that I should hear. But when Krishna is so close and if I can't hear, there is some problem. Krishna is, if the Lord is so close, I'm not hearing, there is some problem. The thing is that the closeness is in terms of Shrunu. How attentive are we hearing? If we attentively hear, that is what is closeness. If attentively we are avoiding, our attention is also so much that attentively we are not hearing. Because we may think, if I become a devotee, my life is screwed up. How many of us have this still to a certain degree? At least I have it. So if I surrender, if I become so faithful to Krishna, if I start hearing to his voice, then I very well know that okay, it can lead to dangerous and fearful, unknown things that I have never thought of. So better if I don't hear, no, that's okay. If I hear, I have to do it. Or if I hear, then I know how bad I am, how far I am to the Lord. Better. If I don't hear, no, I am very close to the Lord. If I go to the temple, with our eyes, even if we see the Lord so close, I think it was in the Bhagavad Gita class. So it was giving. No, it was in the Chaitanya Charitamrita class. Gaurang Prabhu was saying, we have this Narsingadev deity. We are sitting very, very next to him, close to him. But are we able to see him? That's
Yes,
what.
Prabhuji. I think this point now I remembered. Whenever we put I, this is mine, this is my thing, my life, my property. The moment this is there in our hearts, then we cannot attentively hear to what God says within us.
Yeah.
The moment with this I thing goes away, then we will have this propensity to hear, okay, what the the Paramatma is wanting to tell you. And this is something which when we slowly get into the devotional service, hearing, as it comes with hearing, then listening, then slowly we will start beginning to understand. So I think this was one of the points which which was a big takeaway in the yesterday's class.
Yeah, so that's what we see. And then when we don't understand the science of Godhead, that how tiny spirit soul we are and how big is super soul, because we are thinking they are same. This is something like equating the potent and the impotent. How can we compare infinite to infinitesimal? because both are not measurable. So let's equate it, because equality is not able to measure. Isn't it? Parth Prabhu? Because we are not able to equate, we are not able to measure. If we are so small, yeah, which is like a tip of the 100, what is it, 100,000, forgot, of the size of the hair, yeah,
Mhm.
so small, then we can't measure, right? So far still it's difficult to measure that. And the Lord, when we say infinite, oh, unlimited, he is also not measurable. So both seems to look same. No, uh, we it's just like measuring the distance. I'm very sure that when we go to Google Maps, it's not going to measure the distance from one place to other with a microscope.
That's
Right?
correct. Yeah.
If you think
So,
it's measuring through microscope, it could be only some gems, some organisms. But when it comes to the distance, we have a different measurement. There are ways how to measure, but it doesn't mean that okay, I'm not able to measure, so both are same. We should be very careful because they look like same birds. Okay, uh, they're in the same place. How can this unlimited being, the super soul, can stay in our in this small body? He might also be some of same size. No, that is equating a potent, which is the supreme, who is all potent, with us, which are so minutely potent, which is almost like impotent. So comparing a potent to impotent uh, is an analogy here. We can see that a Jivatma and Paramatma, if we compare and equate them same.
yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Shubha Mata, you have a question? Hand is up. Okay. Yeah, is this clear, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. It's absolutely clear.
Okay. Fine.
Thank you.
So these are all will be discussed in the upcoming verses. But important point is that last takeaway that the Lord, though He is present in our heart, we are not able to hear because we have turned ourselves back. Yeah. So we do not want to hear. That's why the Lord is also not speaking. But as soon as we turn towards Him and we are open to hear to Him, then whatever He says, so close proximity will go straight into our head. And that's that's what we do through Bhagavad Gita, Shrunu, hearing to the words of the Lord.
Yes.
Okay. Someone who has joined for the first time or can read the next verse.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Where does super soul live within us?
In our heart.
Sorry, I just missed that part. In our heart.
Yeah.
Okay. The super
Yes.
soul is witnessing everything what they're
Yes.
doing.
Hmm.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Would you like to read this next verse, Shubha Mother?
Okay, Prabhuji. This one.
Yeah. But I think
Wish
your voice
we.
maybe have to be mic has to be little slightly
Okay.
away.
I'll try. Mm-hmm. Rishbi Bahuda Geetam Chandobhir Vividha Rathaka Brahma Sutra Paday Eva Hetu Mahavir Vinitithya Tahi. um, Separate the translation first. That knowledge of the field of activities and of the knower of activities is described by various sages in various Vedic writings. It is specially present in Vedanta Sutra with all reasoning as to cause and effect. But should I read separate also, Prabhuji?
Yes. Please.
Okay. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the highest authority in explaining this knowledge. Still, as a matter of course, learned scholars and standard authorities always give evidence from previous authorities. Krishna is explaining this most controversial point regarding the duality and non-duality of the soul and the supersoul by referring to the scripture to a scripture, the Vedanta, which is accepted as authority. First, he says that this is according to different sages. As far as the sages are concerned, besides himself, Vedvyas says the author of Vedanta Sutta is a great sage, and in the Vedanta Sutra, duality is perfectly explained. And Vedvyasa's father, Parashara, is also a great sage, and he writes in his book of religiosity, Aham Tattvam Cha Tatha Tatnya, we, you, I, and the various other living entities are all transcendental, although in material bodies. Now we are fallen into the ways of three modes of the material nature according to our different karma. As such, some are on higher level and some are in the lower nature. The higher and the lower nature exist due to ignorance and are being manifested in an infinite number of living entities, but the super soul, which is infallible, is uncontaminated by the three qualities of nature and is transcendental. Similarly, in original Vedas, uh, a distinction between soul, the super soul, and the body is made, especially in the Kathopanishad. There are many great sages who have explained this, and Parashar is considered principal among them. The word Chandogya referred to the various Vedic literatures. The Taittiriya Upanishad, for example, which is a branch of Yajurveda, describes nature, the living entity, and the supreme personality of Godhead. As stated before, Kshetra is the field of activity, and there are two kinds of Kshetra Jiva, the individual living entity and the supreme living entity. As stated in Taittiriya Upanishad 2.5, Brahma Pancham Pra- Pratishta, there is a manifestation of Supreme Lord's energy known as An- Annamaya, dependence upon food for existence. This is this is a materialistic realization of Supreme. Then in Pranamaya, after realizing the supreme absolute truth in food, one can realize the absolute truth in living symptoms or life forms. In Jnanamaya, realization extends beyond the living symptom to the point of thinking, feeling, and willing. Then there is Brahman realization called Vijnanamaya, in which okay, in which the living entity's mind and life symptoms are distinguished from the living entity himself. The next and supreme stage of Anandamaya, realization of all blissful nature. Thus, there are five stages of Brahman realization, which are called Brahma Pancham. Out of these, the first three, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Jnanamaya, involve the field of activities of living entities. Transcendental to all these field of activities is Supreme Lord, who is called Anandamaya. The Vedanta Sutra also describe the Supreme by saying Anandmay Bhyasat. Bhyasat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is by nature full of joy. To enjoy his transcendental bliss, he expands into Vijnanamaya, Pranamaya, Jnanamaya, and Annamaya. In field of activities, the living entity is considered to be enjoyer and Different form, uh, different form, different from him is the Anandamaya. That means that if the living entity decide to enjoy and devote devoting himself with the Anandamaya, then he become perfect. This is the real picture of Supreme Lord as the supreme knower of will, the living entity as the subordinate knower, and the nature of field of activity. One has to search for this truth in the Vedanta Sutra or Brahma Sutra. It is mentioned here that the chords of Brahma Sutra are very nicely arranged according to cause and effect. Some of the sutras or aphorisms are Navaidya, Asruta, Nitma, Surita, and Prapatu Charita. The first aphorism indicates the field of activity, the second indicates the living entity, and the third indicates the Supreme Lord. The summum bonum among all the manifestations of various entities.
Thank you very much. Was a very technical.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Translation purport. Thank you, Subhamataji. Yeah. So here we understand when it gets more technical, right? So, Dharan wanted to speak. Right on. No, let's first try to go through this once again. So here we're talking about the knowledge of the field of activities and of the knower of activities is described by various sages. What does that mean? Here, Krishna is establishing what he is speaking on the basis of what he speaks, as well as on the basis of what the authoritative sages have spoken in various Vedic writings. Uh, It is especially present in Vedanta Sutras with all reasoning as to cause and effect. So, this whole creation where we have this question about oh, who am I? Why am I here? What am I doing? What is the effect of it? Everything the Vedanta Sutras have explained. So the Supreme Lord is the highest authority in explaining this knowledge. Now, what we do is we take so many other ways of knowing this knowledge, which we are trying through so-called science and technology of this advancement that we have achieved. And we want to see everything because I could solve a problem. Let me solve also other problems with the same way. I think science also is changing the approach when as need arises and coming up with new conclusions. But when it comes to really taking the right way, which is understanding, Shrunu, by hearing, science is science taking the approach of hearing? No, science takes the approach of seeing. I believe what I see. I don't believe what you say, isn't it? Hmm? Hmm? Even if I don't understand what you are saying, but if you show me in the end, this is what is conclusion, I'm fine to accept and go on. So people are so much accustomed to understanding the truth by only seeing, which is not the right approach. The right approach is by hearing. And by hearing from where? Not hearing from everyone, because that is the reason why science is not uh, accepting hearing process, because there are so many people who are telling whatever they think, whatever they speculate, whatever comes to their mind, thought, and that is not the right way. We have to hear from authorized means authority. Here we see the Supreme Lord is the highest authority in explaining this knowledge. Can someone quickly say why? What makes Krishna the supreme authority? Yeah, please be very close to your mics, yeah, that you can quickly turn on, off, that we can save some time.
Prabhuji, he is ever presiding and he is omnipresent. He knows the past, present,
Okay. Okay.
and he
Next.
has no start and no end. So yeah, he
No
knows.
start, no end, ever present, eternal. Okay. Next.
Prabhuji, he is the ultimate. There is nothing beyond him. So
He is ultimate. Nothing is beyond him. Okay. Next. Thank you.
He is the absolute truth, Prabhuji.
He is absolute truth. Next.
Prabhuji, he is the Supreme Soul residing within all of us.
He is supreme soul residing in our heart. Next. Thank you.
He is the Supreme Father of all the living beings.
Yeah, he is supreme father of all beings. Fine. Next.
Because he is the Supreme Lord responsible for creation, maintenance, and destroying
That is the
of
right
the
one.
whole.
He is the creator. Huh? He has created means he should know everything, right?
Correct.
If Supreme Lord is the creator, he knows exactly how it's created, how its functioning is. So that makes him automatically the first authority, isn't it?
Correct.
Adirasa Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
If you have created, this is what in today's world scientists have patents. Is he going to have a patent right for what I created? No, right? He will have his patents for what he
Yes.
created. And if you violate his patent, what can you do? You'll file a case. Yeah, it's a breach of, what is this word? Dinath Prabhu, breach of authority.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So now who is the authority of what he created? He is the authority. So the Lord is the one who is created. And if someone else is claiming that he is the creator by finding whatever ways, what is that? Breaching the code of conduct of authority. So here we see first very clearly, because the Lord has created it. So he is the one who has the highest say and the best, perfect. And that is what is the Supreme Lord, what we see here. Is this clear, the first line, everyone?
Yes.
Still, as a matter of course, learned scholars and standard authorities always give evidence, because sometimes backing up with some evidence can help us. If someone is saying, no, Krishna is the creator, if Krishna is saying, as Satish Prabhu said, he is all pervading, he was present in the past, he is present in the present and future, eternal. How can we know this? Because I didn't live before. So we see the authority here still. So that's why we see again how to back it up so that people don't say, hey, otherwise everyone is saying, Lord said, and how can I have faith? Some great personalities have helped us in the form of authorized scriptures. Krishna is explaining this most controversial point regarding the duality and non-duality of the soul and the super soul. By referring the scriptures, he's saying, yeah, how do you want to accept this? Yes, in the Vedanta Sutras, it's clearly mentioned. And Prabhupada is giving us further understanding. First, he says this is according to different sages. This is the reference as far as the sages are concerned. Beside himself, Vyasadeva, Parashara Muni. We see, Vyasadeva is a great sage. Who is he? The author of Vedanta Sutras. And in the Vedanta Sutra, duality is perfectly explained. So now we cannot say everything is same. If someone is saying, no, I am God, God is I, and both are same. No, there is a clear distinction. If we refer to the Vedanta Sutras properly, as per what Vyasadeva has presented it, we should have clear distinction between them. Vyasadeva, the author of Vedanta Sutra, is a great sage, and in Vedanta Sutra, duality is perfectly explained. And then, who Vyasadeva's father is also great sage. And he writes in his books of religiosity, aham tvam cha tathanye, aham, one, and tata anye, others. We means you, I, and other and various other living entities are all transcendental. So qualitatively same, although in the material bodies. So we are present in this body, but which is identical in the form of transcendental qualities. We are Atma, not this body. So this is what is understanding from his writings. Now we have fallen into the ways of three modes of material nature according to our different karma. As such, some are on higher level, some are on the lower level. So depending on our karma, depending on our fruitive results, when we are taking a body, either we might be situated in a higher species of life or lower species of life, in a higher planetary system or a lower planet. So in that way, but because of the modes of material nature, because of our lording over, we fall into this modes of material nature. Now we are fallen into the ways of three modes of material nature according to our different karma. So because of the karma, we are not the what do you call it? Pure, staying in the pure conscious stage. And here it says the higher and the lower nature exist due to what? Ignorance, and are being manifested in an infinite number of living entities. But very clearly, but the soul, the super soul, which is infallible, is uncontaminated by the qualities of nature and is the transcendental. So, as we were saying, that there is a gulf of difference between the soul and the super soul. In the previous verse, the reference given was of infinitesimal and infinite. They're not same. And here we see further that the super soul is not under the condition of these material influences of modes of material nature. He is beyond it. He is transcendental. Similarly, in the original Vedas, a distinction between the soul and the super soul in the body is made, especially Katha Upanishad. And there are many great sages who have explained this. And Parashar Muni is considered principal among them. So, authority of Parashara Muni cannot be neglected or should be accepted. And then,
What are the three modes of material nature, Prabhuji?
Yeah, the three modes of material nature are Sattva Guna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna.
Okay.
And you know the meaning of them, right?
Yes,
The mode of
Prabhuji.
goodness,
Yeah.
mode of passion, and mode of ignorance.
Okay. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yeah. The word Chandoghi refers to various Vedic literatures. This includes Taittiriya Upanishad, which is part of Yajurveda. And then we come from that references Brahmapucham Pratishtha. Based on that, what is the understanding is that 5 layers. I think you may have heard this. Annamaya Kosha. Have anyone heard this? Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Jnanamaya, Vijnanamaya. No one heard? First time you're here.
I have Prabhuji. There are 5 questions from my father.
Yeah. So here we try to understand, I mean, in context of understanding the soul and the super soul, we see here that the Annamaya Kosha dependence upon food for existence. So that's why it's so important what kind of food we eat. That is the reason to nourish a super soul, sorry, not super soul, soul is nourished in this body, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just like if a parrot is there and parrot is in the cage, we need to give protection to the cage, and at the same time we need to give protection to the what is it? To the parrot inside the cage. Yeah, the question may come, okay, why to give protection to the cage? Cage is a kind of a bondage, isn't it? If the cage is a bondage, so if the cage is gone, then it's so nice the parrot is also gone. But the parrot has not done his business yet. This soul, this parrot, is still under the influences of material nature. It's not purified. It didn't understand what is the purpose of life. What will it do when the cage is open? Satish Prabhu, what will happen?
Fly.
Just imagine the cage is open, the door is open. The parrot is free to fly. But will the parrot fly and come? It comes back again to the same cage.
No. Most of the time, no.
No, it
Sometimes.
happens. Yeah, it happens because it thinks this cage is more secure than the surroundings. Yeah, I don't know if you have seen some. I have seen that there is this guy uh, who is pigeons, huh? Not bird. Anyway, the birds, pigeons.
Oh, yeah.
One who have pigeons in it, right? He put all the pigeons in a nice bird house, and then what happens? He will let this door open, and all the pigeons will fly out.
Yes, we have this. Sorry, am I interrupting? Sorry.
No, go on.
Okay, we have a special term for this condition in medicine. Yeah, it calls elephant syndrome. Exactly when you chain the baby elephant with a small twig or so. At that time, the baby elephant doesn't have the power, but as he grows, he has the power. But he is conditioned to believe that I cannot break the chain.
Yeah, that is another example.
Even,
Yeah, but
yeah.
that is another example that even if you release that, even if the elephant is tied with a small chain, the elephant is still believing it cannot break it. That is in illusion. Yeah,
Yes.
that is illusion that it underestimates its power. But here I'm saying this bird doesn't even think that it has power.
Yes.
Just like, I mean, as you said, elephant is not realizing it has power to break the chain. But here the bird is not having the knowledge what to do if I'm free. Ignorance.
Yes, ignorance.
It is, yeah, I think in later stages in the purport it says, because of the ignorance, state of ignorance, what we are doing is the bird can go out. Who is stopping the bird? No, but the bird is feeling I'm very secure. You know why? I'm getting my carrots and fruits, whatever I want. Yeah, as long as I'm in this cage. If I go out, who is going to give me the carrots? How can I survive? So yeah, ideally what we see, that's why it's very important that we cannot ignore this body, because this body is a vehicle until we come to understanding that okay, I can attain my perfection through this body and come to a stage or different layers. This is what we are. That is why we say if you really go into old style schools, very old, they used to give proper knowledge how to develop these different um, layers or the koshas, or kosh is also called a treasure. How to develop these annamaya kosha, how to nurture the pranamaya, jnanamaya, vijnanamaya, anandamaya. Ultimately, anandamaya is the stage where we want to attain, but it won't come automatically until the previous other coverings, other koshas are properly nourished. That's what is the point here. Yeah. Here we see that Brahma Pucham Pratishtha. Yeah. Subhamata.
So, Prabhu, the Annamaya Kosha, how do we nourish it with only eating sattvic food? Is that, uh, am I understanding it right?
We are going to that now. We'll go layer by layer to understand how we get it. So here we're talking about the Annamaya, which is dependence upon food for existence. Without eating food, we cannot exist. Very simple, right? Without eating food, how many days can we? No, the system is built such a way that our growth is so much dependent on food we eat. And if we eat good food, then we maintain good consciousness. Because after all, what is the purpose of eating good is that's why we don't eat dead substance. Is it? Do we eat a dead substance? Are we eating a piece of iron? Are we eating a plastic? No. We are eating food that has pran, that has life. Of course, after cutting, oh, there is no more life in the fruit or vegetable. No. If it is having no more pran, that's already dried up. That there is nothing in it. But we are eating food that has good pran. Yeah. Then we are able to nurture our body. Our body is depending on good food. If we eat bad food, we know what is happening. The effect is we are prone to more, what do we call, diseases. Yeah. And because if we eat food that is not full of pran, then we also grow older quickly. And if we eat something that is affecting our mind and consciousness, we are affected more in the mode of ignorance, right? That's why it said what to eat is very, very important, because the basis of our advancement is so much depending on what we eat.
Yes, Prabhuji, we have this saying, जैसा खाएगा तन वैसा रहेगा मन. Like
Yes.
what we put in our body, it resonates in our mind.
Yeah, and also, yeah, this is coming to this point, yeah, that our consciousness, if we want to have our self in the mode of goodness, what we eat is good food. And if we want to even ripe additional benefit or the perfect thing what we can provide is by eating only prasada. Because it's not only full of mode of goodness, but it's also having so high potency of us to realize who we are. Just like if we see a fruit, okay, it has a skin covering mango fruit, and then when we are eating the skin, it has its benefits, no doubt. But when we're taking the fruit inside, or just like I would say, even nut and yeah, basil nuts or walnuts, something. We're not eating the shell. We're eating what? The fruit or the nut inside that. And we are taking food which is not useful if we talk about that as what do you call this? What is that cover? The shell. Are we eating the shell? If we are eating, we are in the mode of ignorance, right? We are not going to get anything from that. When we eating the nut, that is in the mode of goodness. We are getting. But more importantly, I think if you know, we are not just talking about a walnut, right? We want to eat a walnut which is very nutritious, which is nice, not that spoiled inside. First thing, and if we really look at it, we are eating it for what purpose? Is it only to eat the nut? No, to benefit from it. And what is that? That is in macronutrition or super nutrition. What is that present inside this walnut, right? If we just extract that, do we really need to eat all these things? No, that if we get it, that's it. So when though we are eating a fruit, generally speaking, there is the real purpose is to get what? The best of it. And the best of what food we are eating is possible by actually offering it to the Lord and taking the remnants of it in the form of prasadam. Though we are eating same rice, roti, or something, yeah, we are eating, but that's not giving us still the best result. That is only maybe keeping us a body, maybe fit, whatever nutrition that it need. But a step above is that we also don't want to just mm, maintain this body. That's not our business. We want to maintain and nurture what is very important to our soul, prana. That's what we will anyway come. So that's how we see that each of these layers is to be taken care to realize the Supreme Lord. So here we next when we talk, then in pranamaya, after realizing the absolute truth in food, one can realize absolute truth in living symptom of life forms. So just like as I said, this food, the food has this pran. And what is this actually? Yeah, we know that every atom is Lord, creation, is expanding himself. So the Lord is available in the food, and by eating his prasadam, then we get benefited. Then we talk about next is the pranamaya. After realizing this, now one realizes absolute truth in living symptoms of life or life forms. So this pranamaya means to really feel, hey, we are not just this matter. There is something beyond it, something above it, and that is pran, that is life, spirit. And then there is this next level is jnanamaya. Realization extends beyond the living symptoms to point of thinking. Okay, but what is this? Kshetra, kshetrajna, and all these things, feeling, willing, this mind consciousness level. And then there is this vijnanamaya, in which the living entity's mind and life symptoms are distinguished from the living entity himself. So he is able to see that he is not mind, but he, and he knows that he is not this intelligence. He is beyond this, which is that he is Atma. He is not this material body. He is not this subtle body. He is beyond that. And then, what is the last stage is coming? The next and supreme stage is Ananda Maya, realization of the all blissful nature. We usually open up our journey of self-discovery with this first session, search for happiness, isn't it? If you all may remember, and we are talking about this bliss, anand. That stage, yeah. See, come on, how deep it is, and we want happiness so quickly. No, it's not possible until we come to this understanding that we are not this body, we are not this mind, we are not this intelligence, we are even above that. And when we come to that stage, then we are experiencing the bliss. Out of these three, Annamaya, Pranamaya, and Jnanamaya involve field of activities of the living entity. Field of activities, what is that field of activities? The body. And then the transcendental to all these fields of activities is Supreme Lord. Okay, next two. Right. So Vijnanamaya is individual soul, and Anandamaya is the supreme soul, Kshetrajna. So Kshetra involves this body, which is the gross body is Anandamaya and Pranamaya, and subtle body is Annamaya and Pranamaya, and subtle body is Jnanamaya, and then comes the Vijnanamaya is the intelligent, which is layer of individual soul, attaining beyond that, and after that we understand Anandamaya is possible only how? Because it is the potency of the supreme soul. Only with that understanding, then we can understand this. So this is what is further explained here. Vedanta Sutras also describe the Supreme Lord like what? By saying what? Anandamayo Bhyasat. This is also an individual soul by nature. What is that? Ever, ever, always, ever seeking what? Bliss. By nature, the soul is always seeking pleasure. So if it cannot get the higher pleasure, that's why it's finding the pleasure in lower, in the bodily conscious. So, but actually, soul is Anandamayo Bhyasat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is by nature full of joy. Even by nature, we are full of joy, which means joy is already there. We are all already blissful. But because we have identified ourselves with something else, that we think that is happiness, not what we are experiencing is happiness. That is the reason we find so many ways, so many places, so many things through which we want to be happy, but that's not happening. Just like this pigeon, which is inside this house, is thinking it's very safe and secure. We are also thinking that as long as we're in this body, we are safe and secure. And just like this pigeon is thinking, oh, I don't want to go out, we also don't want to go out. In the field of activities, the living entity is considered to be the enjoyer, and different from him is the Anandamaya. That means that if the living entity decides to enjoy in dovetailing himself with Anandamaya, then he becomes perfect. So, then what is the purpose of this body? Is to understand that by dovetailing our activities in serving the Lord, we come to that state, and that is what is Anandamaya. This is the real picture of the Supreme Lord as the supreme knower of the field, the living entity as a subordinate knower, and the nature of the fields of activities. One has to search for this truth in the Vedanta Sutra or Brahma Sutra. So that is what is the purpose. And then this is the perfection of living entity to find it out. Transcendental to the fields of field is the supreme Lord who is full of joy. And then the real picture of the Lord is the supreme knower. We are only partial knowers. In the last verse we discussed, living entity is subordinate, not superior, and the nature as the field of activities. This is what is Brahma Sutras telling. Okay, very technical. Any questions? Anything anyone want to add? Or we'll go ahead to the next verse. What do you prefer? We'll take one more verse. Mahabhutani ahankaro buddhir avyaktam evacha indriyani dasaikam cha pancham chendriya gochara ichha dvesha sukham dukkham sangata chetana dhrithi etas kshetram samasena savikaram udahrita. So here is that is saying now let's understand what is this body. The five gross or great elements, then false ego intelligence, unmanifested, the 10 senses and the mind, the 5 sense objects, desire, hatred, happiness, distress, the aggregate, the life symptoms and convictions. All these are considered in summary to be the field of activities and its interactions. So the field of activities. From all the authoritative statements of the great sages, the Vedic hymns and aphorisms of Vedanta Sutras, the components of this world can be understood as follows. What is that? First, there are earth, water, fire, air, and ether. These are the 5 great elements, Mahabhuta. Then there are false ego, intelligence, and unmanifested stage of 3 modes of material nature, which is Pradhan. Then there are 5 senses for acquiring knowledge: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. Then 5 working senses, Karmendriyas, which is voice, legs, hands, anus, and genitals. Then above the senses, there is mind, which is mono, and then there is buddhi. There is that mind, which is within and which can be called the sense within. Therefore, including the mind, there are 11 senses altogether. Then there are 5 objects of senses, which are smell, taste, form, touch, and sound. Now the aggregate of this is 24 elements, is called the field of activity. We have come across this in Srimad Bhagavatam, and a very detailed how this whole creation, when this whole universe is created, how all these started manifesting is also discussed. Then there are desire, hatred, happiness, distress, which are interaction, representation of the 5 gross elements in the gross body. 5 great elements in the gross body. The living symptoms represented by consciousness and conviction are the manifestation of subtle body. What is that? Mind, ego, and intelligence. These subtle elements are included within the fields of activities. The 5 great elements are a gross representation of false ego, which in turn represents the primal stage of false ego, technically called the materialistic perception. What is that? Tamasa buddhi. Intelligence in ignorance. This further represents the unmanifested stage of the 3 modes of material nature. The unmanifested modes of material nature are called what? Pradhana. One who desires to know the 24 elements in detail, along with their interactions, should study the philosophy in more detail. In Bhagavad Gita, a summary only is given. If we want to know, in Bhagavatam, Canto 1 and Canto 3, there is a complete description about all this. The body is the representation of all these factors, and there are changes of the body, which are 6 in number. What is this? Bodily changes. Body is born, creation, grows, it produces byproducts, which is called effects, like offsprings. Then it begins to decay, dwindle, and finally it perishes. It becomes 6: born, birth, growth, stay. Yeah, stay. It stays. This is a. So in that way, there are 6 stages for a living being in this body. Therefore, the field is a non-permanent material thing. We see there is a start and there is end. However, the Kshetrajna, which we will discuss later, is not that. The knower of the field, its proprietor, is different. Okay. I close here. Any questions? Anything anyone want to share? Add? So that's what we were discussing from the chapter 13 to 18. We'll see a lot of this kind of Jnana Yoga will be taking the support. To understand, the very important thing is that we are not this body, we are the soul, spirit soul. And at the same time, we are not that spirit soul equal to the supreme super soul. We are only minutesimal or infinitesimal. This is what we understand. Any questions? If not, then we'll close the call.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Maybe just only one point to just add. So, I mean, especially the importance of eating prasadam. Usually, this point can also be proven scientifically if usually people wanted to know that why a good food has to be taken. This can be proved in many ways, and even maybe science is something which will only try to prove what it sees. But there are so many things in this world where if we connect scientific inventions with spirituality, we will easily understand what will happen if bad food is eaten. And imagine if the bad food is eaten by a community, by a country, we can see the history and the effects of it. So that is why it becomes so important to have good food, especially prasadam. And even those positive effects also can be seen by people. And there are so many, I mean, the history itself says actually, like, I mean, if we, yesterday when we were in Simhachalam, we were thinking, I mean, it is a big farmland, which is self-sustaining farmland, everything in the service of the god. And imagine if the Simhachalam is just one small part of Bavaria. Imagine if the sample size increases, then every place will be flourished, nourished under the service of God, and the world becomes a better place to live in. And I mean, this is what I mean. I just wanted to add, Prabhuji, because usually when we, I mean, many people usually ask us indirectly that, okay, why? I mean, what is the importance of prasadam? Why we should not? I mean, because people find it very difficult when they're coming from their own family backgrounds. Find it very difficult to refrain from the bad food or the food which is not supposed to be taken. So I was just thinking about that, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing this. Yeah. What food we eat will also help us think accordingly, right? So if we eat good food, we think good. Yeah. So if we eat bad food, what is happening? Our body is not nourished. Very simple, scientifically. We don't have to even talk spiritually. Scientifically, also we see that if we eat something, diet, if we see that, okay, eating fried food, yeah, are we getting nutrition? Is someone building muscles with the eating fried food? No, right? Very simple. Yeah, that itself shows that if the food is not properly taken, the body is not properly built. And this is at a gross body, very easy to understand, very easy to already say, because science is having so many articles, papers, documents, so many things to show. And then when we talk about the subtle body, subtle body, there the challenge comes. Oh, how is mind affected? Yes, by the way that you work, the mind effects can be seen. People who are eating food which is rajo, dominated by the mode of passion, they are more passionate. And the people who are eating the food which is dominant with mode of ignorance, we see how they are. And when you're telling this, right, the history, we can see some great examples in the past. If we don't have to go so far, just imagine a town where the restaurants are not there. The level of their physical strength, we cannot imagine how strong they are. The level of
I have observed this, Prabhuji. Like, I mean, last time when I was in India, I was in Baroda. And there were so many Vaishnava Bhojanalayas, and I mean, ISKCON temple is there. So everyone, they are offering prasadam to people outside. I mean, the prasadam is served there. So everyone is like working first to prepare prasadam in the service of the God, and they're delivering it to the people who are visiting the temples. I mean, they're all very fit, extremely fit and extremely positive. But when we just compare it to a normal restaurant, the restaurant is like still farming food. I mean, it is just ultimately business at the end of the day. I mean, it
can also go even to that level, right? Because when someone is cooking, it is not just cooking. It's not just a mechanical process of cutting and frying or whatever. It's actually the mood that with which he cuts. Oh no, what? How can we say that if someone is cutting with so great mood, then it goes into the food? This is we can't understand. Only with thinking we can see with the effects of it. That's what we are seeing, right? If someone is saying, "Hey, do you have mind?" Yeah, are we seeing the mind? No, we are seeing the effects of the mind and accepting that mind is there. Similarly, when we are saying, "Okay, what is happening here? What is so great about prasadam? Why every time we are talking about prasadam? What is it really special, or is it people want to make it also a religious activity? Like, okay, God is offered and God is he eating or not? No, is it only a kind of ritualistic thing? No, Lord is accepting our service. What else can we think of? Lord is personally accepting what we are giving. Very nice, right? So instead of giving parties all around to so many family and friends and all, why can't we offer with our own hands, cook and offer it to the Lord? And the Lord is eating, really eating. And what is he doing? He's also blessing. Now, come on, let's talk about honestly. If we go to a restaurant, inviting for a nice banquet hall, and people are fed up, lot of food. What are they thinking? Wow, we had a great food, so great. Next time also we should go. Next time also he should call us. What blessing is he getting? Parth Prabhu, is he getting any blessings?
No, there is no such blessing in that food until unless it's not offered to God.
Yeah, the food itself is not the food. What is happening? Only giving you a taste. Because of that taste, you are becoming bigger slave to it. That's why I really see. I mean, I don't know. You may have seen, or maybe I'm not so pure to see properly. I have seen people. Hey, they say, hey, for every reason they say, hey, let's have party in India. When his turn comes, he says, what big I did, nothing so great. They become so much slave that for nothing they want a party. And after going to the party, then we can see their colors so nice, bright. Say, hey, I want that, I want this, I want to eat that, I want to eat this. There is no end for it. He will invite 10 more people, whether he knows or not. He might be not his friend, but the person who is coming, his friend.
And Prabhuji, I think this thing also can be scientifically proven. I mean, if people wanted to know this, that whenever, I mean, we see in temple when devotees are preparing prasadam, during the prasadam time, they're preparing the prasadam in the midst of glorious kirtans. I mean, so many kirtans are going in the background. They are in the preparation of prasadam with lot of love in order to serve God. So it is also said scientifically that whenever we prepare something with not in the proper mode, then the food also comes like that. I mean, for example, like sometimes if somebody cooks in a kitchen at home with lot of anger or hatred in their heart, maybe they're frustrated with something, the output of the product also comes like that. So
Because it's very simple, right? It's all these things are happening. Even if a mother who is feeding the baby, if mother is not eating sattvic food, the baby is also affected.
Yes, Prabhuji, yeah.
This is very easy. If the mother is having, forget about sattvic food. If the mother is thinking non-sattvic in her own consciousness, the baby who is drinking milk is also getting those effects of the consciousness. The baby, what is it, Rupa? The baby will be quite disturbed, right? So all these things are so subtle. These subtle things we could see only through effects. And if we can't see the effects, doesn't mean that there are no effects. We are blind to those effects. So
yes,
we need to come to the consciousness. We need to come to this perception. Then we can appreciate these differences. If we can't subjectively understand objectively, there are, as Deennath Prabhu is referring, there are scientific proofs which are stating the glories of proper food, proper diet, and because we can see them, and if we accept it and try ourselves, we can see. Just like when Srila Prabhupada went to the US, people were not eating prasadam. Yeah, they were not eating prasadam. At that time, they were drinking, taking drugs. They were not having understanding of God. But when Prabhupada started giving them prasadam, we know what history created, isn't it? One who,
Yes.
People who don't know. I mean, who have no education. Forget about no education. They didn't even think that this material education will bring happiness. They left everything. They became hippies. They were very rich, but they didn't care that they want to be rich. They want something higher. They want higher, something, a reality. And when Prabhupada gave them prasadam, by eating prasadam, everything came. Everything. So we see how important it is to have prasadam that can change us for all good just by taking prasadam. Everything is set properly. Consciousness. What is the right consciousness? That is what is induced in prasadam. Why? Because the cook is having the consciousness. He is bringing that mood. This is also what it is said. Of course, in today's world, if I say this, people will say, "Hey, you are what is called non-feminist." Like in olden in the tradition is that the wife and husband relationship is so much dependent on how the wife is cooking the food. When the wife is cooking with love and affection, that food is filled with that. And because when the husband is eating that, then he is taking this love, this form, not through the senses, but just means of prasadam. The food, I mean, food, not even prasadam, forget about prasadam. We're talking about this love and affection is is soaked into the food that is made and offered to the husband. And that's how in the grihastha life in those days, there is a lot of harmony between wife and husband, because the consciousness is transmitted through the food that she is cooking, and he is nourishing with that. And now we're talking about prasadam, which is induced completely with the mercy of the Lord. Why? Because the Lord is served and Lord is satisfied, and the blessings of the Lord is coming in the form of the food, prasadam. And now imagine how potent it is. There is wonderful story. Maybe next time when occasion comes, I can tell about a Mahaprasad, yeah, of Jagannath, of the Lord. How potent it is. We'll discuss next time, some other time. Thanks, Dinatham.
No, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay. Then I wish you a very wonderful Sunday. Yeah, enjoy the sun, and we'll meet again. पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
Prabhuji, have a happy anniversary. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
You said something?
Yeah, happy anniversary, Prabhuji, for you and Mataji.
Yeah, thank you. You're coming to temple?
Oh, yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, then we'll meet there.